You're listening to the Indie Echo Podcast, a showcase of independent music and the artists that make it. I'm Jordan, producer at High Five Music. Tilsen is a singer-songwriter from Toronto who combines brilliant pop songwriting with polished electronic production. Her latest single, Forever for Now, sounds like this. Tilsen, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jordan. Well, my artist project is called Tilsen. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm the daughter of an opera singer. My mom went to school for opera, so she's very classically trained. And my dad is, he has a nice voice and he appreciates music, but he's not a musician himself. And I grew up singing classical music. I was always in choir, thanks to my mom, and listening to classical music that she would play, and then listening to classic rock from my dad's side. So that's like the Beatles, Beach Boys, the band, Johnny Cash, and some like old R&B stuff like Marvin Gaye, stuff like that. And then I think the first album I owned was Britney Spears, so I got right into the pop thing, 90s kid. Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, that kind of thing. And then as I got older, I always was performing. I started learning guitar when I was 11, and I went to a musical theater high school in Toronto, was part of an opera chorus during that. We did musicals, operas. I was in a jazz vocal a cappella ensemble in high school. And so I always knew I wanted to perform. But it wasn't till the end of high school that I started writing my own songs. And that was not just like something that I came to on my own, actually. It was, I was connected through like a high school boyfriend to this producer who wanted me to be in this band and asked me to write a song. And prior to that, like I always loved performing and singing, and I'd done a bunch of different styles. But my only writing I had done was really like writer's craft in high school. I loved it, but this was the first time of actually writing a song. So I did that, and he was like, this is actually really good. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll keep doing it. So I kept writing songs from there. And it's taken years of development for me to have my writing be at the quality that I actually enjoy to listen to. So I'm happy about that. But basically at that point, that's when I decided I wanted to be a recording artist, and I've been pursuing it since. Yeah.
So that those early songs, were they in a completely different style to what you do now?
No, they were like alternative pop, kind of electronic based. And then I signed with a label after writing about like 6 songs only. And then I was still trying to figure out my sound, and they were kind of pushing me towards pop. But at that point I was more into alternative music. So I was listening to like Regina Spektor and The National and like stuff like that at the time. And I felt like pop music was just not cool. Like at that age, I was around like 17. And so I started doing like alternative stuff for a while there. And then I came back around to pop. It never strayed super far weird, but it was like definitely more alternative leaning. And then I realized like I was just kind of not doing what I actually am good at and wanted to do, which was pop.
Pop has gone through a bunch of different phases in like the last 20 years or whatever, but I think right now, especially the kind of pop you make, where it's like half electronic dance, half I guess traditional pop music, it's just it's really sweet spot that I love, where the production's just so tight and the songwriting. Yours in particular reminds me of like a lot of the stuff that's coming out of Scandinavia. Like, do you know Astrid S? And
I love her.
Dagny. And
Dagny.
Do you know? Do you know? What is it? Elle Devine. She's from UK.
Oh yeah, I love her. Yeah, she's good.
Her new song, Priorities. It's so good.
Ooh, I'll write it down. Yeah, she's not one of the ones that I listen to a lot, but I know that I like her from hearing her stuff. But that's very nice comparisons. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'm curious about how you take the songs like from inception to the final production, because I assume they start on piano or guitar or something like that.
I guess it's kind of different depending on the song for me. I am not particularly skilled at piano or guitar. I can play them both like mediocrely. And so often when I'm starting a song idea, I don't actually start with an instrument because I find it actually just limiting for my songwriting. So often I'll come up with a song idea. I'll kind of be like, I never know when it's going to like strike, but just thinking about something and come up with a concept. And then from that point, often I'll come up with a chorus melody in the air, just without any instrumental. And then take that to then find chords for actor or go to a producer who will find the chords for it. So that's what happened with Little Worse. I wrote that chorus on my own, just in the air. And I had an idea of how I wanted the production to sound, which I shared with the producer. Then he started working on that. So his name is Michael Goldchain. And then I had another friend, Maya, who's a songwriter, help me like with tweaking it. And then that was the final thing. So it's often like that. And then my single that was just released, Forever For Now, I had the concept idea and I just brought that to a songwriting session with another writer, John Pike in Toronto, and my producer, Michael Goldchain. And we wrote it from there, just in the session. And so it was all happening kind of at once, with Michael coming up with the chords, us writing on top of it.
The Toronto music scene, it's really happening, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. There's a lot of talent here for sure.
And I love this. There's really clever lyrics, especially like Little Worse, just the concept of it. It's like, I hope she reminds me of me, but a little worse. It's perfect.
Thank you. Thanks.
But I know in the end, if I only had one wish, I'd make sure that your whole life is a little bit worse without me, a little bit wondering what could have been, a little bit sad and you cry in your sleep, a little bit, just a little bit worse. When you're looking through all my photos, a little bit of touching yourself to those. When you move on, I hope that she reminds you of me first, just a little worse.
Was Hurts your first song? Like
Hurts
proper?
was my first song released at Tilsen ever. I had a song called Just a Girl come out when I was 16. And then I had an EP of horrible songs that were like really crap demos come out a couple years later on the first label. That was just horrible. But it was part of the journey.
Yeah.
We're not going to mention what the artist name was on that because no one needs to hear that. But yeah, Hurts is the first song that was released that I'm actually very proud of.
We know it's love because it hurts, hurts, hurts. Each cut feels like the first. You're perfect at your worst. It's love because it hurts, hurts.
Doubt is another favorite of mine. I love that first chorus especially.
You love it?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Thank you.
Just,
Thanks.
I'm a sucker for those just a cappella choruses with the vocoder. Just love that stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's definitely fun.
I promise that you'll never, ever have to doubt my love. I'll want you even if you're falling down and out of luck. You'll never have to question, darling, I'm in. I'm never gonna let you down. Promise that you'll never
you had your first proper EP, I guess, in last year.
Yes, they did.
And so, was that just putting a collection of songs you've already created together, or was it more conceptual, where you had the idea going into it?
Yeah, well, it's not a concept album. It's more a bunch of songs that I wrote and liked, and so they came out as an EP. All my songs are kind of based on personal experience, but not necessarily a concept for that EP.
And it's off with his head, off with his head. Off with his head, off with his head. Off with his head, off with his head. If I'm not satisfied by the end of the night, then it's off with his head, off with his head.
How did Are You Lonely come about? Because that's taken off a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. So the producer artist Deep Chills found me. I think he might have found me online through a mutual friend of ours called Mid Split, who I'd released a song with called Out of Here. I think that they're friends, and so he reached out to me after hearing that song, wanting to collaborate. And I had recently written Are You Lonely with a Toronto writer, John Pike. And I thought that song would be perfect for him. So yeah, he was really excited about that, made the production for it right away, and we put it out.
Are you lost and all alone, waiting for someone to call? Are you lonely? Do you wish we'd never met? Am I too hard to forget? Are you lonely?
How did you get on an ATB album? Because he's kind of a dance music legend.
Oh, that was ages ago, actually. That was actually the first thing with the name Tilsen attached to it.
Okay.
When I first started that. There isn't really a great story with that one. It's the girl that I had written that song, her manager knew him. So
Simple
happened
enough.
from there.
All right.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like you're starting a new era, starting with Little Worse. Is that intentional?
I think it's more of a reflection of my growth over time, but certainly I've gone through a lot, and I feel like my writing kind of shows that, and there's like an honesty and experience in the lyrics now that I think are new and more developed.
You kind of told the story about Little Worse, and your music video is really cool.
Thanks.
Is that all from your head as well?
Yes. I wrote that song after a breakup, and it's about kind of the phase. I think it's pretty obvious what it's about, but I think that that's something that maybe we might not want to admit that we go through emotionally, where you are missing the person, struggling yourself, and hoping that it's not like they're completely fine without you. And so the music video, I thought it would be fun to do a video where you see that I look like I'm doing better without this person. I'm strong. I look like I'm kind of, in a way, like seducing the camera kind of thing. But then you actually see that underneath that I'm struggling so badly. And so I think you see that in the later part of the music video, that like I might be trying to project that I'm fine, but actually I'm like crying my eyes out, drinking Grey Goose on my own in my bedroom. So I thought that would be kind of funny. And then I just wanted there to be a humorous aspect of that, of somebody being like, I hope your life is worse without me. I'm so great. And then it's like, meanwhile, they're actually just crying their eyes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally just imagined that in my head. And then the director just brought that to life, my idea, completely exactly what I wanted.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So in this electronic pop realm that you're in, do you have like more direct influences of that sound?
Yeah, for sure. It's really nice that you mentioned Dagny and Astrodesk, because those are some of my influences. Absolutely. Sasha Sloan,
Yes.
Taylor Swift, Shy Martin. Those are artists that I love them so much. And I think that their writing's so good. Yeah. Do you know Sasha Sloan stuff?
I know Sasha Sloan. Yeah.
She's an incredible writer.
So,
if I could write with anyone, I would want to write with her.
What was the recent one?
When was it over?
Until It Happens to You, and Is It Just Me? Like, because those are kind of the slower ones, but.
Oh, true. Yeah, I really like the When Was It Over that she just put out recently. And I think there's one called Lie that's from her last album that I love. But Too Sad to Cry is so good.
Okay. So then you recently just put out Forever For Now.
Yes.
And what is the story behind that one?
I wrote that song at the beginning of a new relationship. So post breakup into new relationship of the story. And I was starting to fall really hard for this person. So it made me kind of think about how things that we want to last, or feelings that we have, like being in love with someone, don't always turn out that way, which is why there's kind of like a cynical edge to the song, which is that I'm going to go for it fully, even though I know I could get horribly hurt, but I'm going to love you forever for now, kind of thing. So, yeah.
I'm all for the cynicism.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
It's that feeling where you think that something's going to last forever. Like, I'm always going to feel this sad, or I'm always going to feel this happy. I'm always going to love this person for now.
I definitely empathize with that.
Yeah.
Because like, even if I'm feeling like heavy emotions at a certain time, the logical side of me is like, it'll pass. You'll
exactly.
be fine, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I have another single actually coming out with Deep Chills at the end of the month, on the 27th of August. And then after that, I have a few more singles that are leading into my EP. More on the less new relationship side, back to the other experience.
It's usually more material in the breakups.
Exactly. It's true.
Do you do co-writes and like writing for other people?
Yes. So most of my songs are co-written for myself, and then also I write for other people and for sync, like TV, film stuff.
Yes, I did want to ask you about that as well, because you had a recent Olympic special thing, did you?
Yes, exactly. That was cool to have one of my songs in the Olympics. So I wrote that song specifically for TV, film stuff. And so that was a neat sync to see that with the Olympians doing their thing. We wrote it with the idea of it being for film, TV, like a certain sound that's geared towards that, but not specifically for the Olympics. But I had that in my repertoire to be able to pull out when they're looking for that sort of sound for their show. But I have written for things specifically, like we'll get a breakdown of what they're looking for and write for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that fun?
I do.
Constricting? Okay.
I find it really fun. Like, I find constrictions actually help with creativity sometimes. Yeah, it kind of gives a direction. And it's really fun for me to write outside of my normal genre and not have it be so much about me. It's nice as a contrast in my life.
You become more of a fiction author than an autobiographical.
Exactly.
So do you have like a proper team with you? Like a manager and all that kind of thing?
No, I'm my own team. So yeah, I'm self-managed. I just released Bruv now with a new distributor, AWOL. They've been great so far. But I'm fully independent. And
excellent.
Yeah.
And the hardest part is usually just the social media upkeep. And you're very good at that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I know it's probably just super exhausting, but yeah.
Yeah. I've gotten better at it in the last 6 months. I was very lazy about it. And then I have like a sort of friend in my life that pushed me to be more regular, which has not been fun getting used to. Now I'm in the groove of it. It's so much easier, but it was tough at first to spend the hours of like shooting and planning out posts and all that. But it's worth it. I think people are liking it, so that's good.
Yeah. What would you say is like a career highlight of yours so far?
I opened for Banners in Toronto at the Opera House performing. That was really awesome.
Okay.
Reaching 500,000 streams on Are You Lonely felt really big and exciting. The Olympic sync was cool, but I'd say the 500,000 streams impacted me even more than that, which was
big milestone.
Yeah, thanks.
You perform live as well?
Yes, I haven't for a while.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, generally I do, and I've been prepping a show that's just an acoustic show for when things go back to being open and I can perform again, and just going to showcase my songs really minimally. I used to do it with a full production and everything, and I'm going to take a break from that for a bit. It was fun, but it was really tricky in the small venues to have it come across the way that I wanted. And so I feel like that's why I'm going to do more of an acoustic show, so that the sounds, you can just really hear my voice and the songwriting, and it just comes across that way. But yeah, I had dancers and full tracks and everything, and I want to do that again. And what I have in my mind for that, I want it to be super exciting and fun to watch. And so I'm just going to wait till the right show to make that happen, or the right opportunity or tour or something like that.
What do you find to be the most difficult part of the songwriting process?
The final 10% is the hardest.
Knowing when it's done? The
final edits, on the songwriting and also the production. Sometimes I find it really tricky to know what is going to just take it to the next, to being feeling finished. Sometimes I have a song where I really like it, but there's something about it that doesn't feel right. And it can be really hard to know how to fix it. And it can feel really, really frustrating, until you get that. And that can sometimes take me months. I can have a song where I'm like, I really want to finish it, but this one section, I have a song like that right now, actually, that I'm putting on my EP. That one section of the chorus just wasn't doing it for me. But every idea I was coming up with to try to fix it, I hated. So it's like actually having something good, but not being able to take it that to the finish line. I find that very hard. And that can happen with production as well, where there's a lot that sounds right, but it's just, there's something that's not working. And then trying to figure out how to fix that and remedy that and what to do instead when you're already used to something. I would say it's that.
Do you ever get demo-itis?
Yes, I do.
You know what I mean, right? Yes. Okay.
I totally do. And so it's tricky sometimes to know whether you to trust yourself, I guess. So I try to at least give myself some space with new things. If say the production has changed and I listen to it, I'm like, ugh, I like the old one better. This has made it worse. At least give it some space and listen to it a bunch, and possibly even show other people that I trust to make sure I'm right before I go this is worse. How about you?
It's a little worse. Yeah.
It's a little worse. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, some of the artists that I work with,
Yeah.
like we actually just had one just come out, and it's relatively similar to the first version that I sent her. Probably because she listened to it 100 times, and she's like, no, that's. And I kept tweaking it and adding things to it. And she's like, no, the original. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. That happens.
And it varies. Sometimes that is like the one that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's version 37.
Exactly. It really depends completely.
You seem pretty comfortable in like the genre that you're in right now, but is there other genres that you want to explore or try?
Yeah, actually, I wrote a song recently that is folk pop. I was really inspired by Taylor Swift's last album, Folklore, and I thought it was really neat how every chorus changes and the storytelling throughout just continues. And so I wrote a song that was like deeply personal to my life and felt extremely cathartic to write. And I think it's my best song I've ever written. So I'm like, oh, okay, shit. Like, I'm going to do a folk pop EP. So I'm going to be writing more songs in that direction. And so after this EP, I'm going to have, you can expect, most likely, as long as I can write some things that I really love, a folk pop EP. Otherwise, I'll just release that one on its own as its own little unique thing. It still is pop. It's not like so far outside of Tilsen. It is definitely a new direction for me.
Tilsen adjacent.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Was there something of yours that just kind of blew up out of nowhere?
TikTok I made of myself. It didn't actually blow up. It's not like it's at millions, but it's definitely did the best out of any TikTok I did. It's like 25,000 or something like that. And it was just me like being silly at Christmas, like wiggling on like this like gym thing, like the roller that you put on your back. And I'm just like being like, when you're drunk and you get a fitness gift for Christmas. And then I'm just like, and that was something that like I just made up and just did with my brother and didn't think anyone would like it. And then it just kind of like,
those are always the ones, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, that was very unexpected. Will it ever happen again? No. I spent like a whole summer last summer putting out TikToks because I was with a label that was recommending me to just try that because everyone's trying that. And it was just like, with lots of effort. Did any of them blow up? No. It's the crap little TikTok I made by accident or something.
Exactly. And if you're like one of your co-writes that's like not a Tilsen project that you want to shout out?
I wrote a song that Delaney Jane is going to release, and I'm not sure what she's going to call it, but that's going to come out in the fall.
What are you hoping listeners take away when they listen to your music?
I want them to relate to the songs, to feel very much like when they listen to the song, they can tell that it's true, it's coming from somewhere real, and that I would hope that it helps them to feel understood if they've gone through something similar and know that someone else has experienced the same thing. With an element of freshness where they're hearing it said in an interesting way and they can have that novelty and be like, oh, that's an interesting way of putting it.
Links to Tilsen's music and everything else can be found in the show notes. Indie Echo is a product of High Five Music, a digital production studio that brings your bedroom demos to life. If you want your music produced, mixed, or remixed, visit the link on my Instagram at High Five Music, and you can follow the show at Indie Echo Podcast. Thank you for listening.